Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the APB recap. This is a recap of some of the hooplas that I talk about on stream. If you want more hooplas, you can check out the stream channel link down below. A lot of the topics I decided not to cover because they're not really worth talking about in the video, and they're not really worth paying attention to, in my opinion. This video is only going to be covering some of the ones I'd like to talk in the video, and I'm also going to be talking about them in a more advertiser-friendly manner, rather than cursing like old school AVGN kind of manner, which you can still enjoy if you watch the stream. Before we get started, this video is brought to you by my wonderful patrons and donators. You can become one by checking the links down below. Though the best way, in my opinion, for you is to subscribe to my stream channel and drop $1 on Stream Elements. Just $1 is more than enough, but if you can't spend $1, a like and subscribe is free. And it's enough for me. I love Persona 4 animation. Persona 4 animation managed to go above and beyond the rest of the Persona anime adaptations, which, to be honest, is not really that high of a bar, really. Instead of being a direct adaptation with little to no flair or change to make it work to the medium that they're adapting it to, Persona 4 animation is basically a soft parody of Persona 4. People who have played Persona 4 will still find the anime incredibly entertaining. Yu Narukami's depiction as a deadpan snarker protagonist that selects all the funny options is incredibly hilarious.
Are you okay?
I might be dying.
No, you're not.
The tweaks and turns that the anime does to incorporate a lot of the game's mechanics and characters into a coherent but also compelling storyline is so wonderful and clever. My brother got into the Persona series thanks to watching this anime. So imagine my shock when I learned that someone sold the Blu-ray copy of Persona 4 anime for $499.95. That's right, $499.95. Wait a second. That's Marie. She's not in the original Persona 4, she's in the golden version. Oh wow, it's not even the original Persona 4 animation, it's the golden animation, which unfortunately also suffers the same problem as the other Persona adaptations. So now the $499.95 price tag, which already is overpriced to begin with, has now turned into $0. Seriously. Don't you just love it when there are options available on the net that allows you to not pay that much? No! I'm not talking about that, especially not when they're removing animes left and right. Crunchyroll has been removing lots and lots of animes, a lot of which you can see right there, and you wonder why people think that paying for their service is a good idea. Now, all of these animes that you can see are actually licensed by Sentai Filmworks. I guess they just didn't get the license for these animes anymore, but it doesn't really matter because licensing is absolute BS. People had to spend extra on VPN just to get the shows that they want. At that point, why spend the extra on the subscription where you can use that VPN to find anime on nya.c? I even got the entire collection of Lupin the Third from there, complete, all movies, OVAs, series. It's freaking amazing. Here's an even better news. They're halting ad-supported streaming starting with the spring 2022 season. You can't even watch free ad-supported viewing anymore. You actually have to purchase their subscription. While they will have the first 3 episodes of certain anime titles, you have to watch the rest of them by spending money on their subscription fees. Do these sound like fun to you? No? Good, because it isn't fun at all. It's annoying and stupid. It's annoying to have lots and lots of subscription fees for multiple streaming services when all that you really want is to watch some goddamn animes. This is precisely why I keep on telling people to sail the seas and never look back to these corporations again. I already talked about how I do so in another video. Go check it out. Alright, so remember how in last week I talked about how Marvel's virtue signaling is some of the laziest virtue signaling I've ever seen from a big corporation? Seriously, look at this utter freaking laziness. Like, my grandma can make this in 5 minutes on freaking PowerPoint. Well, Disney has actually stepped on the game and make their own virtue signaling tweet that's actually much better than what Marvel did. So instead of a white background and default Calibri font, they opted for a much sleeker background with what appears to be Barn script, which is at least a better looking font. Good on you, Disney. You're still not doing enough for the LGBTQIA plus people, you goddamn big freaking money hungry corporate goddamn overlords. Oh wow, more reasons for all of us to sail the seas. Netflix will prompt subscribers to pay for users outside of their households. I mean, seriously, don't you just love it when these goddamn corporations are giving people more and more reasons to sail the 7 seas? Don't you just love it when these corporations take all of your money and screw yourself in the process? I mean, if these corporations are gonna screw you over with crap products, at least don't make them to take your money away from you. There's one point where Netflix tweeted that love is sharing password, as in sharing the password to Netflix accounts. Unfortunately, that love didn't last very long. Netflix is about to control the kinds of people who are sharing Netflix accounts outside of your household. So if you're password sharing to your significant other, You can, but it's incredibly limited to do so. God forbid that you have more than 2 loved ones. You have to pay more for that privilege. Wait, did I just say 2 loved ones? It didn't mean 2 significant others. I mean like family members, if you know my. Crap, I just made that worse. Personally, I have no idea what these meant because I'm a fellow sailor of the 7 seas, and the goods that I have are saved in my hard drives. They're accessible even when the internet is out. So while my sister and the rest of you subscribers are fuming in rage while the internet is out, knowing you can't watch your favorite shows or forgot to download your favorite shows, I have terabytes worth of shows in my drive. Easily accessible and viewable. Check out Persona 4 the animation, even if you haven't played the game. It's great. So this article popped up in my timeline. For disabled women, the Goblin Mode trend doesn't sit right with me. Before we go to that, what the heck is Goblin Mode? Goblin Mode is described as a way of life that gives people permission to ditch societal norms and embrace their basic instincts. What?
You have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
What do you mean? Which societal norms? There are so many, and which basic instincts? Give examples, please. Apparently, Goblin Mode is eating irresponsibly and unhealthily for the sake of comfort, spending days in the bed watching shows while scrolling endlessly in social media, pouring bags of chips in your mouth, downing all sorts of fast foods and snacks, being irresponsible with how you eat your food, not caring about cleanliness or aesthetics. Basically, just being a lazy bum in real life. That's pretty much a lot of people already. Yep, apparently being a lazy bum is an aesthetic that a lot of people adopt these days. Because it's a trendy thing to be? I remember this sort of thing being very popular with certain nerdy gamer characters like Diva, except I was mistaken, it's not Goblin, it's Gremlin. Totally different. Oh, wait a second. The Gremlin one is primarily about gaming, the Goblin one is about Netflix and other hobbies, which isn't really that much different to be honest. Just please don't Google what Goblin Mode is and know your meme because an entirely different result came out. A very funny one at that. Just pause and read. You know, if you're a vegan and you're going on full Goblin Mode, does that make you a green goblin? Okay, so now that we understand what a Goblin Mode is, why doesn't it sit right through the disabled writer of the previous article? Apparently, it's because Goblin Mode was instigated by a fringe group of people posing what could be described as anti-capitalist content that showed a rejection of the mainstream ways of existing. It's also because the writer thinks that it's disrespectful to just adopt the aesthetic of a person who do nothing at all, because there are people who are disabled and can't do nothing, and that's just their way of life. They simply can't switch it on and off. Okay, first off, I don't think we're on the same page in what we meant as a Goblin Mode, because all they did is consuming all sorts of stuff. Not exactly anti-capitalist, if you ask me. And second, while I do think that this trend is really stupid, I don't think this trend is intentionally made to discriminate against you. In the same way that stairs and ladders aren't made to be intentionally discriminatory against anyone with a limp. It's just idiots on the internet showing off that they're just a bunch of lazy bums to follow a trend of people being lazy bums. Apparently, it's also popular with the girls. I'm not like other girls. I'm actually really lazy and dirty. I am so #relatable, guys. Well, regardless of that, at least we can agree on something in that this trend is really stupid, and being lazy and lacking aesthetic shouldn't be an aesthetic that you brag about, especially not when being a goblin or gremlin will potentially lead you into having a room like this guy. Yeah, not a great aesthetic to live in. You want to see the 2 meters pile of trash?
There we go, boys. It's over there. That's about 2 meters deep of trash.
Moving on from that, I do want to talk about this tweet because I just find it very enlightening. The viral tweet involves someone complaining that a high school is asking the students to list the positive effects of imperialism, but the OP's little sister, who's the one writing it, refuses to do so because it's extremely undermining and disrespectful to people whose ancestors were murdered because of colonization. Well, guess whose ancestors were murdered because of colonization? I just realized how nonsensical that statement is. Like, if your ancestors got murdered, how do you even live? Like, how can your genes survive throughout the day? Like, maybe a more accurate term is if your ancestors suffered through colonialism, not that they got murdered through colonialism. I mean, if they all got murdered through colonialism, like, you wouldn't even live, bro. Like, you're not even like a father to these people. Maybe we're talking about like specific family members that already had an offspring on the family. Like, I'm trying to think about that. I'm trying to like edit this video and trying to contemplate on that sentence. It kind of makes no sense when you think about it. I'm telling you that the only person who undermined and disrespected the people whose ancestors were murdered because of colonization is you for refusing to engage in a critical thinking discussion and hypotheticals. In other words, you're willingly making yourself stupid. You're the kind of person who have a higher propensity of repeating all sorts of historical atrocities due to your own ignorance. The thing is, no ideology is perfect. Not even capitalism, which I am absolutely in favor of. Capitalism has its abusers without a doubt. Activision Blizzard is among some of the worst of them, and recently got into a brand new fresh lawsuit filled with fresh allegations. Can this company just die already?
なんで死なないの？なんでそうまでして生きようとするの？
And of course, other corporate cronies that are nickel and diming their consumers for the sake of maximum profits, like Rockstar with their stupid GTA Plus Battle Pass thing. Go screw yourself, Rockstar, like seriously. There are pros and cons for every ideology. Some have more cons than others. And yes, that includes imperialism. There's nothing wrong with engaging ourselves with hypotheticals and putting ourselves in the perspective of the bad guys. As an ICT teacher, I put my students in the perspective of a hacker and explain how hackers are able to steal people's information. It can be through brute force hacking, it can be through phishing or spoofing. I put them all in the mindset of a hacker so that they can understand how not to get hacked. This is the exact same thing. We put ourselves in the mindset of the imperialists so that we can understand in why what they're doing is beneficial for them and why what they're doing is not beneficial for us. This is just a pretty basic question that engages in that level of critical thinking, and it seems that modern education refuses to engage people to that level. No wonder why people get homeschooled nowadays. Oh, and not to mention the OP quotes someone who is apparently on the FBI's most wanted list. I'm not even kidding. Look her up. Thank you so much for watching. If you like it, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can donate to me through so many means. Links down below. Stream channel link down below. Go subscribe. And thanks for watching.